everybody, Scout Crafty here again. TGIF, it's Friday. Great week this has been. It's it's moving kind of fast now, isn't it? This was a quick week for me. Very busy, trying to stay busy, and it's a lot of good movies that I was able to catch. And but today, what I want to do today was, I've been putting this off for a long time. You know, some of the viewers over time, they send in some tools and things like that to the show and to the channel, and I really appreciate it. But I always storm in one area until I can, I get kind of overwhelmed with it, and that's what I'm going to do now. Now, we still didn't finish all the projects from the last time I did a video like this but this is just in line. That's why when people ask, they say, look, I got a wrench. Could you? I have so much. Wait till you see how much stuff we have to get through today. So I'm going to go real quick in no particular order. Let's go check it out. Okay, first off, let's get started here. We got some great stuff to show you. For my buddy Terry Hooks, he's from Sonoy, Georgia. Now, I had to look up how to pronounce Sonoy because the A is silent, and I am a king of mispronunciation. Anyway, anybody that watches the Walking Dead series, how cool is this shirt? He comes from, and that's where this is filmed. It's filmed in Sonoy, Georgia. And he sent me this. He sent me this cool, so you remember we did the Lucille bout a while ago. Awesome. But what Terry's really into, tooling and things like that, so he knows about restorations and whatnot. He sent me these. Now, there's a difference when you start getting into abrasives. There's, crappy abrasives like the ones that I use a lot of times, but then there's the good stuff, the USA, the Germany, and these are German-made abrasive discs, and I can't wait to try these out, but I'm not going to try them out on something that isn't worth these, but these are really nice. And he sent these. He sent a grinding disc, and one of these costs the same as like 5 of the ones I use, so that's why. But as you get into restorations, you start to get better abrasives. So I really appreciate this, Terry. Thanks so much. Next up, my buddy Big Mike. He's the training department manager at Schaffhauser over. He's from Clarksville, Tennessee. Big Mike Hessock, and he sent, we were talking on email, and these are very interesting because these are, you can see here, if you could just make that out, but it says, I believe, M. Klein. These are Klein water pump plies, which, how often do you see these, right? So these, I'm looking forward to doing these up. And look at this really nice set of Utica. Look at these clippers here. Aren't they just amazing? And look, it's got the little wavy bottom jaws there, I guess, to hold whatever you cut. That's just a beautiful pair, huh? Can't wait to do these. Thanks very much, Mike. Next up, and I know I'm going to butcher this name, is Jordan Urquhart, and he's from Halifax up in Canada there, and Jordan has he has a channel, and he also has a great Instagram, East Coast Vintage Tools. He does a lot of tool restorations, and actually it started off, he wanted to send me this, but then he threw in some other tools that I thought I would like, and I do. He a former scout, and some interesting ones. Here's one here. It says the Keystone out of Buffalo, New York and stuff. I want to check this out. It's an old ratchet. So just a lot of cool restoration things here. This here is a rivet scale. This is how you measure, like in a blind hole. You could put it in and see how far the rivet has to go down, and it shows you how to read this scale on here. I don't have one of these. Excellent. And looking forward to that. East Coast Vintage Tools. You hashtag that on Instagram. Thanks very much. Next up, Jordan, we have our good friend of the show, Christina Perez, who used to be from San Diego, but now is from Caldwell, Idaho. And what a difference, huh, in places. But what's really interesting is she sent in this is a Lennox a nut driver that goes with the screwdrivers that I bought that time, which is a really nice addition that I have. And also she sent this in here, and this is something I don't have. It's called a Rose Standard. You can see there, Rose Standard. It's a 50-foot steel tape measure, and it was made by Justice. Yeah, Justice Rowe and Sons out of Patchogue, New York, which is Long Island, not far from here. And this is a steel tape measure, and this is in really good shape. What you do with this is, you know, every so often, especially if you use it, you pull it all the way out 50 feet, and then you take a rag with some kind of light oil, kerosene, silicone, and then you just wipe the tape down and just then wind it back up. And this thing is good for, you know, 60, 70 years old already, and it's still beautiful. So looking forward to that. Christina, thank you so much. Next up, good friend of the show, Rich Sauna. He's from Freeport, New York, which is Long Island, not far from here. He's had this book for many years, and this is great because this has all about gears. And this company here, Gantron Gears, you can see here, Chicago, Illinois. It's a catalog, but it has everything you would need to know about gears and how to cut gears and the specifications, and then ring gears, and it just has everything you would know. My buddy Randy Richard has been doing a lot of work with gears and things like this, and this really comes in handy, and the information is always good. It never gets old. But also, he sent a token holder, which I have upstairs, and it must have fell out of the box here, but look at what his wife made up. She's in the printing industry, and how great is this? It's a foam board. And she printed out a whole bunch of Popular Mechanics magazines. He has these hanging around his shop and things like that. And what a great idea, huh? And it's just, who didn't love these beautiful illustrations from Popular Mechanics in the 50s and stuff? So really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Richard. And looking forward to hanging this up somewhere nice. Okay, next up, another good friend of mine from Texas. Yeah, you know. Look at, he sent this beautiful Texan flag. I'm going to hang this outside my house. I'm going to freak out the neighborhood because, you know, I think Ben Maul, my buddy Ben Maul, and I were switched at birth. See, Ben should have been born here in New York, and I should have been born in Texas. I don't know how that happened, but look at this, huh? How good. Texas, that's what I'm talking about. And Joe is a true, I'm telling you, everybody I ever met from Texas, you never met somebody from Texas that doesn't love their state. And what a great state it is. Anyway, Joe sent all of this stuff, and he sent, like I said, he's from El Paso. Okay? El Paso, look at these nice little magnets. Come on, man. I mean, how can you not love this state? He sent all these paint markers, which are really great. A lot of cool stuff that we'll be getting to, but some nice gloves. You can never have too many gloves, especially I go through gloves like crazy, but I should be wearing them more when I'm working. And these are great because these are the things you put on your belt, and you can, almost like a retractable keychain. Got some of these. Look at this cool thing. This is something that I would definitely have bought, like if I saw Jacktown. This goes onto your hose, and it's got a quarter turn valve. It's a ball valve, but you can use this for so many things. I'm sure it gives you a nice high pressure stream, but you can also thread something on here to fill anything up. These are always great to have. Joe, I can't thank you enough. God bless Texas, and really appreciate. We'll be getting to this. Next up, I got this a long time ago from my buddy Resto Robert Faust. He's out of he has his own YouTube channel, great channel. Check him out, Resto Rob. He does all kinds of great restorations, and he sent me an Isco to complete the set that I have. And you know, he always comes across. He's a big collector of Bonnie tools. He has that. But you know what's cool? He sent me, whenever a tool restorer, somebody does tools, so they send you a tool. It's always something that is definitely a challenge. And look at this one here. It's a little bit of a challenge. How with that jaw like that? And yeah, that's definitely something that we're going to try and do something with. But how cool is that? And then also, this is my favorite part. When I was in Scouts, you know, this was the cover or hat that we were supplied, and see this here, and you would put this in your belt, and that's where it would stay. And then when you were wearing it, which, you know, we didn't wear too often, but how great is this, huh? Look at that. And boy, this brings back a lot of memories. And also this was a zipper pull that we had a lot of times, again, back in the 70s. And it would show you here on the back, it would show the wind chill factor. Can you see that there? That would show you the wind chill factor, and it's right on the money. Here it is. It's a little over 70 degrees. You can see it still works today the way it used to. And you would put this on your zipper of your coat, and you kept checking it because you were freezing, going, man, it's got to be colder than that. Anyway, thanks so much, Rob. This is really great stuff. Good friend of the show, Christos Christelis, all the way from Greece. Yep, all the way from beautiful Greece. Sent me this book as we were talking, one of my rants, but this is The Odyssey by Homer. It's a classic, and now I have the time to read something like this. But he is an electronic engineer, and this is what he goes by on some of his Instagram and YouTube. But he designs, and he designed this, and how great is this, huh? It's a LED driven. You can't really see it because of the lights on here, but the LEDs, they change colors, and just a beautiful thing. And look at that. You can see here he designs it. He sold a bunch of these on eBay and whatnot, and really nice. But what's really interesting is, even before we had our putty knife discussion, he sent me this, and he says, this is a putty knife that I really like, because he says it's made in China, but it feels very much like a European or USA made, and it's true. The quality and the fit and finish on this is really beautiful. And look at this. Remember we were talking about the flexing? Look at that, huh? This thing is just beautiful. And the ergonomic, this is really nice. Now, I don't know how to pronounce that name. I don't know if that's INGCO. I don't know what that, never heard of the brand before, but that's the model number. That's the SKU number. And this is, I don't even know if we can find them around here, but what a nice... Oh, can you imagine? Look at that. This thing is so smooth. It's like a vintage putty knife, but really nicely made. Thanks so much, Christos. Beautiful stuff. And I love you. Next up, our buddy Abe Elias, the knife maker from Canada. We'll be getting to his knife hopefully next week. We'll be putting scales on that. But Abe sent this. He comes across some NOS tools every once in a while. He thought I would find this, and it's true. If you ever see when you have to do an adjustment on the table saw, you got this little slot to get in to get the table saw blade off and on. Well, you can see how this works. This is an extension for those wrenches that always seem to be just a little bit short. Anyway, you would take this here, and it's nicely made. You would put the wrench in here, and now you can have an extension where you're not hitting. So I'll be putting this to use probably next week when I'm starting the Birdhouse Challenge. Thanks again. Next up, my buddy John McLaurin from Shreveport, Louisiana, sent this great book. And now, if you don't have one of these old Sears catalog reprints, you need to get one, because it's just so much fun looking through them and see what prices went for and how things change. Now, this here is a different one. This one's called The Best of the Collectibles. And this isn't a standard Sears catalog. This has what they consider mostly the collectibles that a lot of people tend to look at. And you can see here the list of things that are on here. But it's amazing, because you could see, I always get a kick out of what things cost back then compared to now. Now, for example, you got to remember that during this time when this catalog was made, that the average wage was 22 cents an hour. That's less than $9 a week. So, in other words, to buy this record player here, this disc talking machine they call it, but that would cost you a week's salary. Think about that. And when you look at, I'm amazed at how some things were so expensive and other things were so relatively cheap. Sewing machines, that was a lot. If you know what went into making a sewing machine, they were, very, a lot of it went into it. But here it is, you can buy a sewing machine for $6 here, or depending on the type. So, there was huge differences in price. Here it was the Tradle machines that we're so used to, and that was $15. So that would be the equivalent of almost 2 weeks salary. It's a big purchase back then. But there are so many things in here that I get a kick out of. Here, $69. I mean, $69. That's a lot of money to spend on something when you're only making a few dollars a day. And but I just thought it was pretty interesting, and the prices and whatnot. And I always find that even the other one, I look a lot at the tools and stuff, but I always put it into how much that would cost in a week's salary. Like it would cost you a week's salary for a decent shotgun. And you look at that now, you say, what do I make a week? Could I buy a shotgun for what I make a week? And a lot of times you can. So pretty interesting, and a lot of, I know 357 Magdad has one of these. He carries daily, and pretty interesting. And I know he also 357 also has one of these. He has the original catalog that he looks through, but it's something you should really check out. But look at this here. That's what I find so amazing. For $19, look at that range that you can have, huh? I mean, and that would be It just goes to show you how some things in here. Look at this one for $22. I find it incredible that how some things cost so much and some things cost so little. Look at that beautiful thing with all the chrome trim, or the nickel plated trim, $25. Come on, that's I would buy that. But then I guess if you're only making a certain amount of money, But I had a lot of fun looking through this. John, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Next up, my buddy Matt. We all know Matt from the Super Wrench Garage on YouTube. This was the first, this is a magnetic. How cool is that? Anyway, Matt sent this great assortment in, but the funny thing is, we did the knife for Matt that was sent in with this, but we straightened out one of Matt's. Again, we get to these things as we feel like it, but the funny thing is that when somebody that restores tools sends you stuff, sometimes, if they feel it's a little much for them, it's going to be much for you too. Like, here's a nice pair of scissors. Now, I never heard of this brand, but if you look here real closely, it says Life Edge, and even though there's some weld spatter on this side, if you put the scissor together like this and squeeze it, it's missing obviously the nut, but listen here. So that sounds like it'll come out real nice, but like something like this, this is something that's beyond my capabilities. Look at that. I mean, I could have, if it was just the back here, but when it starts separating here, because this was hardened steel that was sandwiched here, and that's really difficult, to do. But look at this here. Here's a beautiful Stanley, this here is chalk line and Chalk-O-Matic, but look at all the great graphics on here, and look how nice that would be if that was done up nicely. And this here I found really interesting. This, I think, is a tire hammer for lead weights, when they used to take the lead weights on and off cars, if I believe. And look at that. That's just this is beautiful. So, Matt, we'll be getting to some of this. Thanks so much. Nice Lufkin rulers here. Next up, Tom and Ann Fisher from Blairstown, New Jersey. They sent this terrific assortment of books, and I was talking to Tom a few times on email, but obviously these books here, these How to Run a Lathe, they're always interesting, and the information, again, never gets old on this stuff. You can use it, because it always holds up, especially for me, someone that's like a manual turn. Now, if you're into CNC, believe it or not, you could still learn stuff from here, especially for your tool profiles and whatnot. And here's getting the most out of your lathe. This is really interesting because this is mostly for like wood lathe and things like that, but they have all kinds of, look at that. I love the graphics and the illustrations on here, and it's so simple. This is the way it should be broken down so that you can understand it. And what's really interesting is this was made for high schoolers, which I'll tell you, if you tried to throw this on a high schooler today, it would be full on deaf ears, because there's a lot of technical stuff in here that, that I enjoy, but it would be a little rough for the average high schooler today. But really, really interesting how to do spinning metal and making jigs. And this is a fantastic book. But this one here, it says A Course in Wood Turning. What I love about this book here is this here has everything you need to know about making all different types here. If you want to make a claw hammer handle, first of all, you see the scale. This is 1/2 inch to 1 inch. You could see there. So you would scale this up by, you would double it, and it has all the measurements here, and then it shows you where you have to turn it down to what measurements at what size. So you can make all different types of handles. And here's a vice handle, a rolling pin, potato masher. Here's a darning egg. Do you remember these? For the new guys, that's how you would fix your socks. You would stick this in your sock, and then you would sew the hole in your sock. I don't think those things are done anymore with the price of socks. But look, gavels, how cool are these? Different gavels that you can make. And I love this. Chisel handles. Remember, we made our own. You do it from memory, but this has all the everything you need as far as the dimensions, the size. So this is just a fantastic book, and I'm looking for, it says here, a course here for high schools, and here's all practice cuts, the kind of, and different things you can make, obviously, but what a great book. This one here is just out of this world. Thanks so much, Tom. Really appreciate it. Tom and Ann, Thanks so much. This will come in real handy. Next up, our buddy Brian Little from Marion, Iowa, sent in these, and he's been using these for years. I only had one years ago. I don't even know how to use it too much. He told me these things are indispensable, and we're going to be doing a review on these hopefully next week. These are all the plastic type scrapers, different colors for different densities or hardnesses, and we're going to go through these next week. Brian had sent me a couple instruction, emails on how to use them and stuff. So I'm looking forward to trying these out, and hopefully next week. Brian, thanks very much. And last but not least, I get this box in the mail only not long ago, like some of the other ones were months and months ago. This is from Juan Marquez from Sykesville, Maryland. This thing weighed 25 pounds. 25 pounds. Thank God I wasn't there to see my postal letter carrier give me the eye. Look at this, huh? Is this amazing? This is all great tools that he sent here, and there are some real doozies in here. I mean, and Juan is he's a tool restorer himself. He sells tools. He puts some he turns over on eBay, and some he just restores for himself. And he's been doing it a while, so he's got a great eye for tools, as you can see here. I'm sure a lot of you are saying, "Wow, I'd like to have one of that." Look at this. Look at this cool little pipe wrench here, huh? Is that cute? And this is there's a bunch of, I mean, this knife is calling my name, right? This is just something, and I know he was the same way. In fact, he wrote me an email. He says, I almost didn't send this screwdriver, and it's true. Check out the screwdriver. Now, I mean, we're all restorers here, right? Look at this here. It looks like it's a leather handled screwdriver. It's got the nice cap on it, and it looks like an multifaceted shaft. Now, here's the thing. If you can, what do you think about, see the edge here? It's kind of bent up a little bit, tipped up here. Now, this could be a screwdriver, right? But the way it's bent up, it's in such a way that and I don't see any damage. It looks almost like it might have come that way. It's like a pry bar. I don't know. And when I was looking at this, I was saying, I don't know if you think it should be straight. You think it came, because if you were using this tool, I have a lot of long screwdrivers, but a lot of times that little bend at the end comes in handy for a little bit of prying. So what's your thoughts on this? You think I should leave it bent, straighten it out? So just let me know on that one. But isn't that beautiful? Juan even said, he says, man, that screwdriver almost stayed home with me. And I know, because, as people that enjoy tool restorations, there are certain tools that you say, I just would love to do. Here's another nice one, right? Look at this. You know how these come out so nice, especially when the jaws are in that kind of condition. So nice. And I'm looking forward to getting to a lot of these. The only one I'm not looking forward to, and I'm sure Juan's laughing right now, this one here, can you see the shape of this? I have to tell you something. I've done some over-the-top wrenches. This is something that, wow. It's a Williams, nice wrench, but jeez. That thing was definitely in this, buried or in the sea or something. But anyway, a lot of good stuff here. Juan, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to getting to this. Look at this. This is one, I think this is, Todd would know. My friend Todd would know. This, I think, is for when you want to pull like I would hate to say a bull, a pig, something like that. You put this in their snout, it closes down, and then you could lead them around or something. Anyway, really interesting stuff. Looking forward to getting to Juan. Thanks so much. I can't believe how much stuff is here. I'm sorry. This is the longest video I ever made. And I just want to thank everybody for sending in and being so generous with sending in the tools. And we will try and get around to every one of them. And we still got a lot to get from the last video we made like this. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a nice weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye.